What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Early Edge. A very happy Wednesday, but not a very happy Tuesday recap screen. Let's get this out of the way. We go 1-5. Not the bet. Listen, the one is a plus 130, but we go 1-5 nonetheless. We do have a couple of picks pending. My pick is pending, of course. Mackenzie Brooks has a pick pending in the WNBA finals. So we'll see if we can improve from this recap screen, but certainly not the look we want to have. We're going to rebound. We're actually one short today, but we're going to rebound with the stars of the show. We bring in Martin Green, we bring in Amags, and I will say, with respect to being one short, a lot of turnover that you'll see, or I should say new faces, additional faces with college basketball season on the horizon, NHL, of course, MLB kind of winding down, college football. We'll have people in here earlier in the week potentially to talk early college football lines. But Amags, Martin Green, Amags, I'm going to start with you. You're wearing the Yankees hat. I believe they play tomorrow. I assume you don't have to give the pick out now. You have a play in Dodgers Mets tonight.
I got to play Dodgers Mets. It's up on the SportsLine site as well right now. And look, that wasn't the best recap, but I got to give a shout out to Brad Betts, who threw a win for the crew in the chat here. There's a ton of love for him. So it seems like a lot of people tailed that play. Congrats to him and everybody else that cashed on that one.
Shout out to the chat in general, but certainly in particular, Brad Betts. There's a lot of people that are super sharp in the chat that are giving out picks almost daily. I don't get a chance only because the show would be so long if I gave out every single bet that people put in here. But I actually try, and I think I gave out Brad Betts a bet yesterday. I hope I did at least, because I remember bringing him up and the live pick that he had. So good job there. Martin Green, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, thanks, Sia. Yeah, congratulations to Brad. That's a great pick. It has been a difficult international break for soccer because it comes quite early in the club season. A lot of the players have to go back and play for their national teams, which they don't particularly like doing. A lot of players pulled out. So it has been quite a difficult couple of weeks from a handicapping perspective. So kudos for getting that pick in. But yeah, we're going back to the club soccer season this coming weekend. No more international soccer. So very happy about that.
All right. Jeff Hatley, very happy to see you in here, Martin Green. And CID is saying, hey, see, you did give out that pick. So I'm very happy to hear that, giving out a winner. And I do believe, I want to mention this because I don't think it was an official play that was on the recap screen, but I believe we had a home run prop that we gave out that not only did, let's see, Sniper give it out, but I think it was backed by Mackenzie Brooks in the model, and that was Ramirez to go the yard at what was plus 450, I think. So listen, it wasn't an official pick, but I believe some people actually tailed that pick. All right, Amags, let's just get into picks right now. We got baseball tonight. We'll probably have some questions about your Yankees in the chat, which I suspect you'll be able to offer your opinion on. But what's the play in Mets Dodgers?
Yeah, I'll definitely throw some stuff out for the Yankees game tomorrow night. There aren't a bunch of like the player props and stuff out, but just Judge really quick. That was the one where you see him hit the home run last night. I actually thought he was starting to get going the game before that as well. So I think there could be a little play there on Judge player props. But tonight, Dodgers and Mets. Look, I just posted this one on the SportsLine site. I'm going to tail the under 8. Now there's 7.5 in some places, 8 in some places. Actually, I saw 8.5 at minus 140 earlier. I think it was minus 150 a little while right before the show on BetMGM. So if you can get the 8.5, I think that's even better. But you're going to push at 8. And I like this one under 8 because, look, you've got Severino on the one side who had an ERA under 3 this year at home. He's going to finally get that postseason start at Citi Field here. The other two are on the road. And on the other side, Walker Buehler, you could tab him as like a really bad pitcher. And, he's been terrible in recent starts and whatnot. I see a lot of that talk. But personally, as I start to look back through these starts, it's like one bad inning here, one bad inning there. All 6 runs last start came against him in one inning when, if you remember, Freddie Freeman hit Machado with the ball he was thrown to second. So you have a really tough play there. You get burned on. Then you have Miguel Rojas, who fields a ground ball that should be a double play, instead tries to get the man at second base by stepping on it. He's too late. Then he throws it to first. It's too late there. He gets no outs on a play that should have ended the inning. I think that it was just a tough game for Buehler, who's completely settled down after that, had, got through 5 innings, actually didn't look too bad in my opinion. So it was a bunch of hard contact. I really don't love that. Beyond that, I think Buehler's been better than some of the numbers. So I'm going to take the under tonight. The weather, 50 degrees, winds blowing in. You guys have heard me talk about Weather Edge and Kevin Roth from Roto Grinders there before. If you go look on what the Weather Edge looks like, it's a small sample, but in only 7 games. It's some really, really big numbers to the negative there for some of the production for offensive output. So I think tonight you just got to take the under at 8, 7.5. I don't think I'm going to play it, but 8, you get the push condition. I'll take it there. The 9th run has to beat us.
Hey, Amags, speaking of weather edges, I do want to point out, I have a golf pick for tomorrow. It's another 3-ball because not all the books have consistent matchups. This 3-ball is available at all the major books, though, including, of course, BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas. But I did want to point out that first-round leaders for tomorrow's tournament, I've kind of honed in on a set of golfers. I got to look at some extra stuff. It's going to be the Thursday AM crowd tomorrow morning, but I'm going to tweet that out. So keep an eye on my Twitter. Maybe SportsLine will tweet it out as well, but I'll definitely be tweeting out some first-round leaders for tomorrow's Shriners. And of course, I have a pick in a 3-ball in that tournament. There are also some picks in the chat. The Big E89 says Kamara receiving yards tomorrow, Rattler rushing yards from Gipper's picks. There's questions about Olave and Shaheed's status. I don't think either of them are going to play. It has not been confirmed yet, Mark Buchholz, but we'll obviously have a lot of that content on SportsLine, but of course, tomorrow's primetime show and probably tomorrow as well for the morning show. All right, Amags, before we get to anything on this Yankees game, in terms of some initial thoughts, because obviously this game is tomorrow, can we invite Jake on the chat real quick? Excuse me, not on the chat, on the show, because in the chat, Liddy is talking smack directly to Jake the Snake. He says, Jake, it's going to be 2-1 Dodgers after tonight. So listen, Jake, I don't want you to give out an official pick or anything unless you want to. Your thoughts on the Liddy smack talk? And for the record, Liddy was at the Dodgers game last game, and he tagged me and CBS Sports on it, just like I asked him to on the show. Your reaction?
You know what? I have to give credit to Liddy because in the ALDS, he was the first one in the chat saying I went 2-0, giving me props. So yeah, hey man, shout out to Liddy for that. But he was very clear he was on the Dodgers for the full series from the get-go in this series. So, hey, man, you know, the value right now it's -155, I think, the series price. You can get them at like +125. So, hey, good for him. But as for tonight, man, weather's not great. Wind's blowing in. Buehler's been terrible. Sevy was okay in his first start. Maybe a couple solo shots, but definitely think the unders for sure in play. So yeah. I'd have to go with Amags on that.
Yeah. And Amags, to your point, like I've been tracking Buehler for since he's been back, really. And he's had some really bad moments, to your point, but the good moments are really good. Like he looks like he has the stuff. It's just when things start to unravel just a little bit, they really unravel. And perhaps against this Mets team, they don't unravel at all because of the firepower or lack thereof that the Mets bring. I'm not really trying to talk smack to Jake there, but it does seem like a decent setup for him.
I think it's an interesting game because of I think Buehler is an unknown. I don't love the way Sevy ended the season, but you know, he hasn't been truly terrible. Like you mentioned, there's been some of those moments for Buehler, but outside of that, he actually hasn't really looked that bad. It's the lefties and the hard contact that I don't love for Buehler. So I don't even mind a little Francisco Lindor player prop on this overhit run RBI or something from the left side, but I think I'd probably just leave it at the under and don't play much else in the game.
Okay. Before we get to your thoughts on the Yankees game, I do want to give out the SportsLine pick because it's NHL related. We're going Bruins Avalanche. We're taking the over at even money here. Again, Bruins Avalanche tonight, over 6.5 at even money is the SportsLine pick. Again, you go on SportsLine, you're going to start to see as we get to Wednesday, Thursday, a lot of NFL picks, a lot of college football picks, WNBA articles and picks, things of that nature. So obviously be dialed into SportsLine for not just hockey picks, but everything else as well, including MLB. All right, before we get to Martin's picks and before we get to my pick, hey, Max, your quick thoughts on Yankees tomorrow.
Yankees tomorrow, like I said, Judge, I think is the one guy I'm going to look for on a player prop. You're going to get the Yankees as the away team now, right? So you can bet some of those Yankees player props. I think it's a little bit tougher at home, especially in games you think that they're going to win, right? So if you want to play the player props, I think you can go there. But also the weather around these times of year is tough, man. So if you want to just watch the weather, you might get a little bit of a warmer game one night, and you want to bet some player props for maybe the other games if it's a little colder. And it sucks to hit in, honestly. So I'll be looking a little bit once we see the Cleveland starter actually get firmly announced. Then I'll be looking at some of the lines. Right now, you only have some Cleveland side up because you have Clark Schmidt as the Yankee starter, but you don't have anything right now Probably going to be Matt Boyd, but we'll see.
All right. Well, maybe there'll be some home runs off of potentially Boyd and Schmidt. BetMGM has a way to cash in twice on any home run prop in the playoffs. Place a straight bet of at least $10 on any MLB player to hit a home run, and you will win a share of a daily $50,000 in bonus bets in the BetMGM bullpen jackpot. Here's how to do it. Log into BetMGM and place a straight wager of at least $10 on any player to hit a home run. If that player hits a home run that lands in the bullpen, you'll win a share of $50,000 in bonus bets. Log into BetMGM for more details. All right, we got to get to my golf pick. Like I said, I'm going to tweet out some first-round leaders too, but we got to finally get to Martin Green's soccer picks as well. We're going to do it right after this.
CBS Sports HQ, giving you college football coverage unlike anyone else.
We're talking Big Ten.
Pre- and post-game coverage.
Are you encouraged with the way that this team responded?
Along with breaking news.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
Highlights and expert analysis.
That streak could be in jeopardy here.
Sure. What was your main takeaway from this game? How impressive was his domination?
That really changed the football game.
Let's go ahead and have some more fun.
Another wild ending.
The chaos continues.
Turn to CBS Sports HQ.
All right, we are back on the early edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas. Brad Bet says, Amags, go ahead and put the Guardians out of their misery. That's funny. Bitsy says, see, apart from the golf analysis, are there 3-ball picks on SportsLine? So good news, bad news there. The bad news is no. The good news, and so I give them out on the early edge. The good news is our tool, which has been updated over the last few months, has really been updated in a great way where we get many more picks to choose from, all the books to choose from, frankly, in terms of putting our picks in and getting you the best number. So we've improved all of that. The next set of improvements is to add more, to populate more potential picks. So it's easy to get football and college football in there, MLB, props, all of that. Well, golf is sort of second fiddle, right? Because it's not as popular of a sport, and the portfolio is very diversified in terms of the betting selections. It's hard to get all those picks in there, harder than you might think. So that is the next step, to get like 3 balls and round matchups and maybe even first round leaders, nationality plays, things of that nature, like your standard golf bets. So that is coming to SportsLine, but for now, it's the early edge. And when we're in season, you always get the articles from myself and Eric Cohen and Patrick McDonald, all those. And I think Patrick still has an article with his picks on there. Those are all under the analysis tab at sportsline.com. So those still exist, but in terms of the picks tool, we're waiting for that to be able to make those picks. All right. Speaking of, I got a 3-ball. I'm going to get right to it because Martin Green has been silent for way too long. I've got a round 1 3-ball. Starts at 10:28 in the morning tomorrow. So right when this show ends tomorrow, this will be starting Taylor Pendrith plus 140 over Nick Taylor and Ricky Fowler. This is a case of one player just being better than the other two and coming in with better form. Nick Taylor really hasn't been good. He's rebounded a little bit recently. He's been okay, but Taylor Pendrith has outclassed him in a big way. What I like about Taylor Pendrith, and this includes over the Ricky Fowler part, is Ricky can putt, but Taylor Pendrith can absolutely putt. He is lights out with the putter, better than Ricky, even though Ricky's kind of regained his putting form a little bit. But it's the ball striking where Taylor Pendrith wins over these guys as well. So to me, you're getting plus 140 on a guy that's better than Nick Taylor and Ricky Fowler, that is a hotter putter than Nick Taylor and Ricky Fowler, and that is a better ball striker than Nick Taylor and Ricky Fowler. So it's just a case of plus 140 being a tremendous value. It's a 3-ball. It's plus 140. These are never going to be locks, right? But the value is certainly there with a guy in Taylor Pendrith that I think could, I'm not picking him to win this tournament necessarily. I haven't made those outright picks. I think he could win this tournament. I do expect Ricky to play pretty well, but I don't think he's going to play as well as Taylor Pendrith in the tournament or in the first round. Give me Taylor Pendrith plus 140 over Nick Taylor and Ricky Fowler. All right, Martin Green. It's 14 minutes in. Now you got to talk early in the show, but it's been like a 10-minute break before we haven't had a chance to hear your beautiful voice. You got fans in the chat. I'm a fan of yours. Amags is a fan of yours. Question is, are we a fan of your picks?
I really hope so, Sia. I really hope so. I will try and deliver. Thank you. I am starting with Arsenal Football Club. They are back in action this weekend. They remain unbeaten in all competitions this season. They're currently on a 4-game winning streak. So the players should really be full of confidence right now. They have a couple of injury concerns, but I still think that they should have enough quality in their ranks to beat Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth were promoted to the Premier League in 2022. They've lost all 4 games against Arsenal since then. They're not really a team that sort of sits back and parks the bus and tries to defend. They try to play open, expansive soccer, and it doesn't really work against Arsenal because they're often outclassed. All 4 of those defeats saw an average of 3.75 goals. So I'm just combining Arsenal to win with over 1.5 goals at -110. I think that looks like a great price. Over in Italy, the reigning champions Inter Milan have made a slightly shaky start to the season, but they're still second in the Serie A table, just 2 points behind Napoli. They're going to be really keen to secure a morale-boosting win this weekend. I do think they look capable of beating Roma at the Stadio Olimpico. Roma have only lost once in 7 games this season. They're a pretty good team. Their form hasn't been great. They fired their manager, Daniele De Rossi, in September. They're still finding their feet under their new coach, Ivan Juric. I think they could come unstuck against the Nerazzurri. It's not going to be the easiest game for Inter, but odds of -105 look great, especially when you consider that Inter have won their last 3 away games against Roma. All of those were comfortable wins as well. Each of them was by at least a 2-goal margin. So they really like going to the Stadio Olimpico. It's a happy hunting ground for them. -105 looks like another great price. So let's hope for an Inter Milan win.
All right, and before we get to the recap screen, Amags, I do want to just kick it back to you just in case there's something in the chat that you saw, and if not, that's fine too. But Martin, was there anything from a soccer standpoint while we had that 10 minutes where we didn't hear from you, where there's maybe a pick to comment on?
Yeah, we had some questions about Inter Miami, which is quite a funny named team. They're named after Inter Milan, but they're Inter Miami. And they are playing New England Revolution this weekend, and sort of asking if both teams to score an over 2.5 goals is going to pay off. I think that always looks like a good bet when Lionel Messi's in the starting 11. He did just play for Argentina, so he now has to go back to the United States and get back to Florida, and it just remains to be seen whether he's going to start. So I probably would wait to see the starting lineups for that game, but if Messi's in the team, I think both teams to score an over 2.5 goals looks like a good pick, and I think they should also win it pretty comfortably. Revolution aren't a particularly good team this season, so kind of be interested in an Inter Miami -1.5, something like that. I think they should win that pretty easily.
All right. And Amags, is there anything in the chat that you felt like you needed to address, whether it's tonight's game, tomorrow's game, or the hate you're receiving from the likes of Jeff Sternberg about the New York Yankees?
I love the back and forth here between Jeff and Eric, who has my back. Thank you, Eric. I got to give him a shout out. He said he's a native New Yorker living in Philly since 1992, which sounds absolutely miserable. But I bet you that 2009 was pretty good for you there, Eric. So let's try to recreate that this year with the Yankees. And you know, I would love to see Jeff be unhappy. He said he hates to see me happy, so I'd love to see him be unhappy if the Yankees win. So also real quick, the props just dropped. They did officially announce Matt Boyd, so the props dropped for the Yankees side. So I took Judge -125 over 1.5 hit run RBI, and a little bit of interest I think in Gleyber Torres as well against the lefty at the top of the lineup near even money. So there you go.
That's great. 2 additional picks we got out because the pitching matchup has been confirmed. Mark Buchholz also getting in the New York Yankee hater action. Want to give him a shout out. And Gipper's picks, very sharp. In here, I guess he breaks down hockey. He certainly does UFC and fight night stuff. But Sabres money line +110, he says, has some value. So we'll keep an eye on that. Bet that if you want to. Again, Gipper's picks, along with so many other people in this chat, very, very sharp. All right, let's take a look at the recap screen before we get out of here. I've got a Shriners Children's Open round 1 3-ball. This is tomorrow at 10:28 Eastern Standard Time. Taylor Pendrith +140 over Nick Taylor and Ricky Fowler. Martin Green, Arsenal money line and over 1.5, and Inter money line -105. Amags, Mets, Dodgers under 8. And the SportsLine pick, Bruins Avalanche over 6.5 at even money. Well, we were short one, but we had a great show. We had Jake the Snake on talking Mets, Dodgers. That game is tonight. We got picks on it. We got so much more on SportsLine. So make sure you remember there. I appreciate everybody being in here. All the smack talk, all the questions, all the picks. We always appreciate it. This is the Early Edge. On behalf of Jake the Snake, on behalf of Martin Green, Amags, and the whole crew, that includes all of you, of course, as well. I'm the Counselor of Cash. This is the Early Edge, and we rest our case.